What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we got pretty big news. Duskull has gone and been banned in the Pokémon TCG. Yeah, Duskull. Specifically, the Duskull from Cosmic Eclipse. Now, one of the most important things to point out right off the bat is, of course, that this card has rotated out. This card is not currently legal in the standard format and has not been for a while legal in the standard format. So we are, of course, talking about expanded here because it came in Cosmic Eclipse and it's been a little while, ladies and gentlemen, since Cosmic Eclipse came around. That's all right. But why Duskull, though? And the answer essentially is, it's nothing Duskull ever did. Duskull itself isn't particularly great and big and powerful or anything along those lines. But what it does is it means any evolution of that card is going to be way better. Because, of course, what Duskull does is it's got the ability Spirit-Born Evolution. Once during your turn, you may discard 3 cards from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and put it onto this Pokemon to evolve it. Now, the thing is, that makes it way, way, way better. Because you don't have to wait a turn to evolve into a Dusclops. And honestly, when I was talking about this card when it was out previously, my biggest thing here was, well, if you really want to discard cards from your hand, this is actually a really good way to empty out your hand. Just use it to discard 3 cards from your hand and then go, oh no, I don't have an evolution, that's okay. It's a really good card for emptying out your hand, but it didn't do much else. And the reason was we never had a particularly good Dusclops. Well, you see, what happened then was Shrouded Fable just came out. And with the release of Shrouded Fable, we now do have a very, very good Dusclops. And now we are rolling. Because you see, what we've got is the Dusclops and Shrouded Fable that allows you to KO it and drop 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. And the thing is, generally speaking, very good card. You get to drop extra damage, but it's balanced by the fact that you have to give up a prize in order to use it. So you give up a prize, you drop some damage, and you're like, you know what? Call it a draw. And I'm showing you the lovely James Turner art here because, come on, look at the lovely James Turner artwork. So now, what we could do in Expanded is essentially evolve up into Dusclops, KO it, drop 5 damage counters on the active or bench, and we can do that turn 1 going first. Here's the other thing, though. There's nothing to say that we can't just keep doing this over and over again. What we can, in fact, do is get 4 of these bad boys rolling, and then discard a bunch of cards, and look, there's a lot of draw options in Expanded, alright? You're going to be fine. And then we get 4 Dusclops out turn 1, going first, and we're dropping 20 damage counters. Now, important to note with Dusclops, of course, they all go in the same place. 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, 5 here. It's not 20 damage counters to be thrown around as you like. It is 4 separate instances of 5 damage counters, which is important. That is a relevant thing, okay? It is relevant that you can't spread them around, because if you could spread them around as you like, it would actually then turn into a significantly better card. But this is still good. And the fact that we can use it turn 1, going first, makes a gigantic difference. Here's what it says on the website. Duskull for the Sun and Moon Cosmic Eclipse expansion was banned from the expanded format. With the release of Dusclops in Scarlet and Violet Shrouded Fable, it became very possible to win the game on the first turn when going first by using Duskull's Spirit-Born Evolution ability to evolve into Dusclops. By getting enough Dusclops into play, players can use many Curse Blast abilities to knock out the opponent's only Pokemon in play, and win the game. Many cards are required to assemble a combo that allows a strategy to be dangerous, but Duskull has the lowest overall impact on other strategies that are used in the expanded format, so it was chosen to be banned. Tournament results and community feedback will continue to be analysed to maintain a healthy play environment. And that's an important thing to point out here, the fact that, well, Duskull isn't the problem here. Dusklops is the problem. But actually, is it really? Because Dusklops is good, but like we've got Dusklops in standard right now. It's literally just come out. And there's no question here, there's no mention here of banning Dusklops in standard. And Dusk Noir is a better version of Dusklops, same basic ability, but now you get to drop 13 damage counters. And the thing is that neither Dusklops nor Dusk Noir are actually, and again I'm using the James Turner artwork of Dusk Noir obviously, these aren't problem cards. They are good cards that see a bunch of play, don't get me wrong, but they're not an issue until you combine them with Duskull, and the second you combine them with Duskull, now they all of a sudden become a pretty big issue. To be fair, Dusk Noir less so. Dusklops is really the issue, because you can just go Duskull, discard 3 cards, Dusklops, KO it, drop 5 damage counters, job's a good 'un. And we could also have a look and go, well, hang on a second. Maybe it's not these cards. Maybe what we can go and have a look at here is, what about the cards that are helping out? What about the cards that are giving extra consistency in Expanded that allow you to have 3 cards to discard constantly with Duskull, that allow you to be able to draw all of your Duskull and Dusklops as you need it? And the answer is, well, yeah, that's fine, but then you're just getting rid of a whole bunch of other expanded decks. So, I mean, one of the best cards to combine with this is Execute. Now, the reason Execute is such a ridiculous card is when it's in the discard pile, you can essentially put it into your hand. And of course, this is broken with Duskull because you don't need to have 12 cards in hand to discard with Duskull, which is a significant barrier in using the ability. What we can go for instead is we can go free Execute in the discard pile. And if you've got free Execute in the discard pile, you use Propagation on all 3 of them, put them into your hand, discard them with Duskull to use your ability. And then you get your second Duskull down, and you propagate all 3 of them into your hand, and then you discard them to use the ability, and then you do that for Duskull number 3 and Duskull number 4, and you don't need to actually have 12 cards in your hand to discard, you just need free Execute. Well, the problem is, that's used in a bunch of expanded decks, because it's really good for combining with a million other cards out there that need you to discard cards from your hand in order to be effective, for argument's sake. You know, things like Ultra Ball, for instance, this combos beautifully with. So, do you want to hurt all those other expanded decks by getting rid of Execute? And the answer I'm going to go ahead and say is probably no. Similarly, we could look at Battle Compressor, because Battle Compressor is the way that you get your Execute into the discard pile nice and early, so that you can then get your Execute into your hand continually and be reusing them. But again, that's helping out a million other decks. It's like a staple card in a lot of expanded decks, any decks that work from the discard pile and all of that. So the answer is no. You probably don't want to get rid of them. So you can get rid of things like Execute or Battle Compressor, but then if you do that, you're hurting a lot of other decks in Expanded, which you don't want to do. And you could get rid of Duskull itself, but the problem is we kind of need that in Standard. You know, stuff like Charizard, for instance, use that. It's very much a staple in the modern versions of Charizard. So even though Duskull itself isn't the problem, that is what facilitates this combo, and Pokemon have been pretty clear. They don't like cards that don't let you play the game. And generally speaking, Pokemon cards that get banned tend to be cards that don't let you play the game. And having this combo where you can go first and drop 4 lots of 5 damage counters with your opponent not even getting a turn, that is exactly the kind of thing that Pokemon are like, we don't like that combo, we don't want it. So they had a look and they decided the best way to get rid of this combo was to get rid of Duskull. And you know what? I think they were right. But I've told you about that now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this ban. Tell me whether you agree or not. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.